Hello, Jim here. One of the questions I get most often is how do I find the companies I like to invest in and how do I determine they are a good fit for selling options? So, today I want to talk about that. I'm going to share with you several tools I like to use and the steps I take to find these companies. So, stay tuned. I think you're going to enjoy what I have for you. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, I have three primary tools that I really like to use. My favorite currently is probably Seeking Alpha. I just like all the information they provide. As you add companies to your portfolio within Seeking Alpha, they also send you emails and notifications related to those companies if important information comes out. And on the main page, you can get details about anything that's currently happening with the markets. I just found it really nice. And I probably go here more often than I do, Yahoo Finance or MSN or any of the others. This is probably my favorite place. Now, what I really like to do is come over to this top stocks. On the left hand side of the screen, you'll see top stocks and it'll list it. You can sort by different rankings. I like to sort by the quant rating. And these are all companies that I've looked at. Some I do invest in, others I don't. So I typically will look like CLS. I've done a couple trades on, and good company. They typically have really good earnings. Some of these others, I've like Bluebird. I looked at it. It came out with outrageous earnings recently. I should have made a trade on it. GoDaddy, I like. So it gives me lots of ideas that I can click on. I also will, maybe I'll sort by profitability and then again look at the top companies and see who I like. And if, finally, I can also come over here to profitability. You'll see I clicked up top and I'll go over to return on equity. And again, here we have GoDaddy, we have Bluebird, we have Delta Airlines, Tapestry, all companies I've invested in. I can also come over here to return on total capital, another one I really like to sort by. Again, if a company has really good return on total capital, it's typically a pretty well run company. So I end up using this page a lot, and you can do the same thing with the ETFs. You can look at top ETFs and you can sort by criteria with them. Of course, being that they're ETFs and they have holdings, there's a little bit less criteria to click on, but I've also used this quite a bit. And then, let's go back to top stocks and let's click on one and I'll show you what it looks like. CLS is a company that is doing really well and it's not overpriced, mainly because its earnings per share is growing so quickly. So again, I like to look at the rankings. I like to come down and look at any of the analysis or the news for the analysis. I like to look at comments. Then I like to come over and look at earnings. How are they doing earnings wise? You can see they're year over year increasing and they're beating all their earnings. Again, a very good company. Also has details about up and coming earnings. Then if they have dividends, you can get a lot of detail here. They don't have dividends. You can look at growth. You can see all the different criteria, everything in one spot. It also has sector and how it compares to the sector. So, and then profitability, here you can get more detail. You can see profitability is a B. I've seen a lot of companies with higher, but I do like the fact that they have good return on total capital and also return on common equity. And then a lot of times I'll look at peers. I'll see, is there any other companies? I'll come down and compare them. Here this FN is another company I might look at. I'm trying to remember who that is. I thought maybe it would show me. I can see from the sector rank and also the industry rank. So CLS is number 1. This FN is number 2. And then a lot of times I'll come over to options. It's a shortcut. Do they have plenty of open interest and volume? And they do. This is May 17th, so this is this coming up Friday. And then I can also mark if I want to follow it or not. It puts it over here in my portfolio listing. And so I use that a lot. I will look at that. Then a lot of times I'll come over and let's just find CLS. And within Schwab, I'll look at if they have dividends. I prefer to look at Schwab's information related to dividends. They don't, but again, for other companies, it works out nicely. And at the very bottom, which sometimes you got to click on this a few times and it'll start showing. Well, maybe not this time. The data may not be working, but it's a nice quick way to see what kind of debt they have. I like to look at debt here. So since that's not working, we'll maybe come back to it with a different company. So that's typically what I like to do. Now, I only do one or two trades a day. So if I find a trade, a lot of times I will go on and do something else. Now I might take a little bit more time because I'm trying to do like 6 or 7 trades a week so I can reach my $2,000 goal on a monthly basis. And typically at the beginning of the day, I'll go to my watch list and then I'll look to see who's up or down. So I'll sort and I'll see like, well, Mara, maybe I should look at Mara. It might be a good trade with them. Shopify, it got hit or it got hammered last week. It actually beat earnings, or I believe it beat earnings, but the guidance seems like guidance is just, if you miss your guidance, you're going to be clobbered. I'll look at these and they'll give me some ideas. I also like to look at the 52-week range. I'd prefer it to be in the middle to the left. But I share this with my membership. I will typically put these out. I need to do it again. I may try to do it later today or tomorrow. If you're curious about my memberships, take a look below. They're in the description. Plus this Seeking Alpha and the next tool I'm going to share with you, which is bar charts. I'm an affiliate with each of these. If you want to learn more, you want to give them a try, I do have an affiliate link. I will get a kickback. It won't cost you anything more. Actually, you can find some pretty good discounts. I don't think bar chart really does much discounts. They'll give you a month for free, which is really nice. That way you can play with it for a month. Seeking Alpha usually has some kind of a discount. So take a look. It may be worth your while. Also, if you want to look at my memberships, I provide all this information. I also provide a planning worksheet, and it also will have details about, what I'm dealing with this week, like who will be expiring later in the week. I also list my favorites. I do update this. I update the pricing typically on Sunday. The green means I'm, keeping an eye on that particular company. I like them price wise. So it's something I look at, and I've recently updated these. I've added trade rankings. I'm working on still a better way to rank them. I also have added more to my checklist and to my guidelines. Like especially these two, I've added some more to that related to earnings. I got hit hard with CVS and Shopify. I'm perfectly happy with owning Shopify, but it's probably going to be assigned to me later this week. So, it's another tool I like to use. I have 4 different accounts. I have 2 at Schwab, 2 at Fidelity. So this gives me a central place to come. And a lot of times I'll also look at, what I'm dealing with, and then I'll also look at favorites to get an idea there. But then I come back to the different tools I like to use. Now, a lot of times if I can't find something through Seeking Alpha, or I just want to see who's really active options wise, I'll come to bar chart. Bar chart's probably, for those of you who are hardcore options traders, it's probably the better tool for you because it has better charting. I really like how you can come over here and you can see most active options, and they have lots of screeners that you can work with. There is a free version, but I think it stops, like you get up to 25 and then it doesn't go down any further. Once you commit to it, you can, like here's CVS, Boeing, you can sort by different things in here. A lot of times I'll come in and I'll just sort by the change just to see what's going on. Is anybody a good opportunity for selling puts on today? Again, I always go back to picking good companies with some of the criteria I talked about before. And then the other piece I really like with them is I have an option screener, and they do a nice job. I haven't found a better option screener out there, but I put this one together. So it has Delta. I have to go to this filter view, but it's got Delta. It's got a lot of different information. And like this time, I'm just going to look for puts. I'm looking for return on equity. I'm looking at debt to equity because I want it to be low. Looking at overall strength of the company and quite a few details here. And you can add many, many more. You can see all the different things you can add here. But they do a nice job. I haven't, like I said, I haven't found a better one, especially that you can do by options. And then a lot of times I'll sort by bid or mid. A lot of times actually mid versus bid. Oh, do it the other way. So the C, and of course Tesla team seems to have the most premium. But it'll give me like TSM is another company I like to trade in. And this tool has worked out really well. I've also been looking at Amazon lately, but I want to get it a little bit cheaper. I prefer it around 150. But this will give me ideas too. So, and then if you drill down, like we're not going to look at Tesla, let's look at TSM, which is the Taiwan semiconductor. And you can see it's a strong buy. They also do a nice job. They're charting. You can actually go to they have a more detailed chart you can go to, and you can actually do the Bollinger Bands. They have all sorts of choices. It's kind of overwhelming. I'm still learning how to get around it. They also have this trader's cheat sheet that does a nice job where you can look at different criteria that will help you make a decision on where you might want to place a trade with them. Quite a bit of information. You can also see options prices relatively easy, and it does have a nice option chain. So I use this, and like I said, I come back. I tend to take all the different companies I'm working with and put them in my watch list at Charles Schwab. I typically will start with this in the morning. I'll look to see, like I said before, looking at change. I also will go out to profitability on here too, and also look at return on equity. And you'll see it's mostly the same companies. Home Depot's one that I've had my eye on. I did a vertical put credit spread on them not too long ago. I do feel like they're still a little bit too pricey. I'd like them to come down a little bit more. But I use these tools. I identify these different companies. The ones I'm looking at currently are Zoom and Path. Zoom and Path both have earnings coming up, and I've done really well with Zoom. I would type it in, but if I hit Z, it'll stop the video. But it's done really well lately. Actually, what I can do is look at watch list, and we can go down to Zoom. This is probably what I should have done before. I keep stopping my video. I did a major upgrade with Filmora, and it's causing a few issues. It's got some new features. But Zoom is in my mind not overpriced. If you look at 1 year, it's still a relatively good price. They have no debt. I've done a lot of trades with them lately. I'm probably going to do more. You can see how much they beat earnings by, and their projections are still pretty good. Wall Street doesn't like them for whatever reason. Let's see if we can here we can get it. So this is huge. A lot of the companies I'm trading in have very little debt or no debt. Zoom has no debt. Another one is Williams-Sonoma that doesn't have any debt, but it's shot through the roof. My guess is Zoom's probably, once Wall Street changes their mind on them, they're probably going to shoot through the roof. They do have I know a lot of people say, well, it's not as good as Microsoft Meeting, or it's not as good as, the Cisco product, but they're adding more and more to it. I'm actually looking at using their scheduling versus Calendly's scheduling. And then they have more and more things that I haven't even figured out how to use yet, that work, even AI related stuff. Seems like everyone's adding in little menus and things related to AI. So, but I like Zoom. I have some positions that'll be expiring on Friday. But these are the primary tools. I prefer Schwab's look and feel and interface compared to Fidelity, but I've been really happy with Fidelity too. But I default to using Schwab's stuff more so than Fidelity. And again, I probably use Seeking Alpha. It's probably my favorite right now. And then I am finding I'm using bar charts or bar chart more and more often. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Please, leave a comment. Let me know what tool you'd like to use. Or if you disagree with me and you think these tools are not worth the money, even add that kind of a comment. I typically will answer most of my comments within 48 hours. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.